it's not hard for me. Most men don't fall in love.
You feel like your
I feel
husband
like
is
they
in
love
love?
you. They love you, but I just want to know why. What's good, simpletons? YouTube world. This is Backseat Sessions, and I am Tank Simple. So in my previous project, I sat down with moms who have lost their sons. And I also sat down with the moms who are now raising their sons without their child's father. And they are single parent. And we talked about their struggles and the different things that they have to go through. How these moms, they raised their sons. They took their time out and raised their sons out in a senseless act because somebody decided to take somebody else's life without thinking about how it impacts more than just that one person. It impacts their whole family. And so we talked about their different struggles and just the murder, the crime rate in our city, not just our city, but the whole United States, and the gun laws and the constant black on black crime, the homicides and the shootings, the senseless killings. And my whole point was I knew like in a few years, 10 years from now, it's going to be a lot of children who are growing up without their dads. And it's been this way, and just from this crime rate. And so I was concerned about those kids. And so now I'm going to sit down with the sons who have lost their dads and the fathers. And I probably will sit down with fathers who have lost their sons as well. And we're just going to talk about it, like how this, because of this senseless act, how it impacted their life. So.
Good morning. My son was murdered June the 8th, 2015, in front of Old Town Mall, down off of Miami and Central Avenue.
So
Asper Street, I'm sorry.
So, Mr. Tony, what is your definition of a father?
A father is one who is there spiritually, mentally, financially, emotionally, who supports and guides and try to be the example of what a young man, becoming a man should be.
So tell us about the moment when you realized you lost your son due to a homicide.
I was at a friend of mine's house, and I got a phone call and said that my son had been shot. And I wasn't even 5 minutes away from where it happened at. So I jumped in my car and I ran down there, and as I was approaching the scene, the ambulance was taking him. They had just turned off of Astor going to Orleans Street going towards Johns Hopkins Hospital. So I asked a few people what happened, and I was getting so many mixed stories, and there was a lot of confusion going on because my son was well known. And
this was 2015, you said?
2015, yes.
So did you know the reason behind it? Did you ever find out the reason behind it?
I never really found out the whole reason. There's so many different stories, conflicting stories, and so many people have their opinions of what could have happened, and but when I got to the hospital, it was just so many. I could tell that something wasn't right because they didn't really want to talk. They just kept trying to sit me down and calm me down.
Right. And so before this incident happened, when was the last time you seen your son?
I seen my son 2 days prior to the murder.
So were you and your son close? Like
very close.
Were you was present in his life?
Right, yeah, that's it, very much so.
So do you blame his lifestyle?
I believe in honesty.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I'm a person, I shoot straight from the hip. I believe in being real. And, I'm not going to say my son was a saint. I'm not going to say he chose the best lifestyle.
Right.
Because he didn't, and some of his lifestyle was reasons for his murder, yes.
So did you ever have your own regrets? Do you blame yourself?
Sometimes I did, because a lot of choices I made early on in life, even some later in life, weren't the best choices I could make. But, a lot of times it was made off of survival skills.
Right.
It's hard for black men, not only in Baltimore, but, anywhere in the United States. It's hard. And I don't blame the system. I'm not racist. I don't blame the white man. I don't play that card. I believe that, you make the best out of what you have. but as a provider, because I was born and raised as a man that provides for his family and take his home. You know, some of the choices I made I didn't want for my children.
Right.
You know, being in prison and things like that, you know, other people got to influence my son to do different things than what I wanted for him.
Because you weren't there.
Yes, sir.
So tell us about the ways this has impacted your life and you being a father to your other children. You have other children?
Yes.
How many children you have?
I have 7 more.
Sons?
4 sons and 3 daughters.
So how has this impacted your life and your life being a father to your other children?
If I can just go back for a second.
Okay.
The day after my son was murdered, my other son was shot up very bad. Nothing related to what my son went through.
Just ironically.
Just ironically, my other son was shot up very bad.
So they in a similar lifestyle.
Yes, and it was just a real bad time for me because
you was at a point where you could lose 2 sons at one time.
2 sons at once. Yes. But after my son's death, man, you know, it made me get much closer to my kids and to my family as a whole, because I've lost a lot of people. You know, 2 of my children's mothers are deceased.
Wow.
You know, my parents, my grandparents, aunts
From
and uncles.
or
You know, just
causes?
from natural causes.
Okay.
I've lost some good friends here lately. You know, through homicides and
Gun violence.
yes, you know, the gun violence in Baltimore is very bad. I've been a victim of gun violence twice myself. You know,
You've been shot.
Yes, on 2 different occasions. Yes.
So, how are your other children coping with the loss of their brother, and how are both of y'all coping with your children and yourself?
My kids, you know, they try to keep my son's name alive. You know, they do a lot of things in his name and his memory. His birthday is actually in 2 days. You know, and we have his friends have contacted some of my family, my kids,
right,
and told us that they're giving a big memorial cookout for him down on Dunbar Field.
That's cool.
I believe it's tomorrow.
That's cool.
So I'm going to attend that. But my kids and I, you know, we go to the grave site. You know, we do things in memory of him. You know, post old pictures, you know, on social media, and you know.
Go ahead. Did y'all ever have to seek? Did you ever think about seeking therapy?
Me personally, I have, because like I said, I've lost so many people. You know, I know one of my daughters had to go through some therapy behind that. You know,
right,
and another incident that occurred. But I was just recently talking to my doctor about maybe seeking some grief counseling and things like that, because a lot of things I tried to block out, like it didn't happen or it never
and
was.
Other people out here that's just like you, and people that you can help, and people that can help you.
Yes.
So did your son have children?
Yes, he had 2 kids. Yes.
So how are you with being a grandfather to them? Like, how are they doing with the loss of their dad?
It's been tough, you know. Little Twan, I believe, is 11, and I think Reagan is around 8, and that's something that I've been struggling with here lately, and mainly because I don't have a vehicle. But that's still no excuse, because I can see them more if I would like to. You know, I just have to make the time. You know, right now it's just been a little tough time in my life. Lost my job recently, not through nothing I've done. The company just folded without any warning. So, you know, trying to find another job and just trying to maintain my household, because I have a 6-year-old daughter in my house, you know, and a 15-year-old stepson that I've been raising since he was 2.
Right.
So it's just been, you know, just trying to maintain my sanity. You know what I mean? Also, you know, thank God, you know, that I'm a recovered addict as well. You know what I mean? So overcoming some of my own demons.
Big. That's big.
Yeah.
So what would you say to the young man or young woman who may be thinking about committing an act right now that may cause somebody else to lose their son or their loved one? What could you say to stop them?
Take that one moment and realize, if this was happening to your brother, your father, your son, you know, your mother, your sister, your daughter, you know, and realize how you would feel, you know, and ask yourself, is what I'm about to do worth the pain I'm going to cause this person? And if I get caught, the pain is going to cause my mom or my wife or my daughter and my children. Is it worth the pain? Is it worth the problems that you're going to go through it? Because you will have to answer for it one day.
Right. So, do you forgive the person who murdered your son?
I'm struggling with that, honestly. I don't, like I said, I don't know reasons behind it. I'm not even really sure who actually did it. I don't have closure. No, I don't. I don't have closure because no one was never convicted, for my son's murder or anything like that. So
and you don't know the reason. So
and I don't know the reason. Yeah.
So what would you say to the fathers who still have their sons today, and their sons are a part of an unhealthy lifestyle? What could you say to those fathers?
I look at the upbringing in households today, and it's so different from when I was coming up. Where your neighbor or your teacher or the lady across the street could reprimand or scold your child, and today if you say something to someone else's kids, it's a bunch of friction between the parents versus looking at the problem, which is the child. But to the men out here, try to be an example, try to do something different to attract your son's attention or your daughter's attention, because girls are doing things just as well as boys these days, to try to attract their attention. Spend more time with them, let them know that they are loved, because a lot of these kids are just looking for love. They're looking for somewhere to fit in. Right. So just try to show them something different. And if you can get out of this city, move your child out of this city and give them a better opportunity in life.
Okay. And Mr. Tony, what can you say to the fathers and sons who they have each other but they don't have a relationship for whatever reason may be? They might not be talking to their father, or they just not talking. What can you say to them? Because they have an opportunity that you don't have no more with your son.
And I myself have experience in that area because, my dad is deceased, but prior to my dad's death, as my upbringing, my dad wasn't really there because he was caught up into active addiction. But my grandfather was always there. Me and my dad developed a relationship in prison. We ended up in the same prison together. Wow. And I took that time to really get to know him. And I had to hear his story, hear his side of why he wasn't there, why he couldn't do the things that he said he would do or what a father was supposed to do, and I had to find it in my heart to forgive him and accept him, because you only get one father, right. And I was glad that God gave me the opportunity to build that relationship with my dad, even up to the day he died. I was right there with him up until the moment. So, it's a great feeling to have someone who you can call dad, who you can love and who can love you back, and never think that you're too old where you can't listen to your father or your mother, because they're still our parents. And God say, honor thy mother and thy father, man. Your days upon the land shall be long. So, it just take the time. Just try something different. If you, for whatever your reasons are, don't like your parents, don't like your dad, don't like your mother, don't be disrespectful to them. Give them a chance.
Thank you, Mr. Tony.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
My name is Dana, and I'm a son of a father that was killed to gun violence.
So, what is your definition of a father?
Somebody who's been there for you from day one, who always, made sure that you had a roof over your head, clothes on your back, food on your stomach, and everything. Somebody who just really love you and take care of you.
Tell us about the moment when you realized you had lost your father due to a homicide.
I realized it when I got that phone call that he'd been murdered, that he'd been shot and everything. So it was like, I didn't believe. I was like, okay, he's gonna pull through this, but because he's a strong person, was a strong person. But at the end of the day, I knew that he wasn't coming back once my mother came back from the hospital to tell me that he wasn't coming back.
Do y'all know the reason behind it?
Yes, we did.
When was the last time you seen your father?
The last time I saw him...
How long has it been since his death?
He got killed in 2001, so it's over 18 years.
And how old were you then?
I was 13. And my little brother, he was 4, just turned 4.
So were you and your father close?
Yes.
Like, was he present in your life?
Yes, me and my little brother.
So do you ever blame his lifestyle? Do you have any regrets of your own? Do you ever blame yourself?
I don't blame myself. At first I did, because I had a dream about him getting killed a night before. And it was like, I could have told him not to go out Christmas shopping. Then he went to go, look at a lead house, about painting and stuff, but then turn around, the lifestyle that he was living,
Right.
that's the lifestyle that took him away.
So you do blame his lifestyle.
But yeah, I do blame the lifestyle that he was living.
And what time you said? So it was around Christmas time,
December the 22nd, a day before my mother's birthday.
2001. In
Yes.
2001. So tell us about the ways this has impacted your life. You was 13 at the time. So
Mhm.
how has this impacted your life? You being a young man growing up without your father.
I had to step up to become the man of the household
For your little brother.
for my little brother, and supporting my mother, because she's the one who also kept us together because they was married. So it was like she lost her husband, her best friend, and everything, and it took a real chunk out of her. She almost wanted to commit suicide and everything, because like, okay, I'm here left with two boys I have to raise, a teenager and a little boy that I have to raise by myself. And so I started working at the age of 14, 15 years old.
Right.
And it was like for me to stay out of her pockets so she can just focus on my little brother. So
So your mother really struggled with this herself,
right.
and you wind up stepping up to be the man in the household, to be strong for her.
Right.
So, but how did this? You said so. This is how that felt, but did this already feel normal? Because it's a lot of kids out here who don't have that fathers in their life.
Mm-hmm.
Did this feel, in a sense, normal?
No, it didn't feel normal because
You had your
I'm
father.
used to having him. So it's like turn around, somebody take him away from me, both away from me and my little brother and my mother. So it's like, that was crazy. Like, I understand the people that's out here that been raised up without a father. Like, I see them struggling or whatever. I see other mothers out here struggling, trying to raise a man. And it's not easy for a woman to raise a man. That's a man's job to do.
So did you have other male figures in your life?
Yeah,
When
I
you
had
were younger.
Yeah, I had my older cousins that's around my mother's age, which is my mother's cousins she grew up with. So they came around, they stepped up and everything, tried, their best or whatever to raise us as much as they can. But other than that, it was just my mother.
So how did you and your little brother, how did y'all cope with the loss though? Like, did y'all ever do therapy? Like,
My
how
brother
did y'all-
my brother did.
Your
He
brother
did
did
therapy.
because
I
of
didn't.
it.
Yeah, I didn't do therapy. So cause like I coped with it in my own way. So it's like I was still in school and everything. So it's like go to school, focus, graduate, make your mother proud, and all that. So it's like, okay, my brother, he did therapy and everything because he really needed it.
Right. So, you got children?
Yes.
How many children you
One.
got? So, you losing your father at an early age,
Mhm.
how will this change, or how has it changed when it comes to you fathering your own children?
Just doing the best I can, make sure I do the right thing, stay on the right path, stay focused, work, and just show her,
Your daughter.
yes, just to show her like these are the things that you need to be doing, to stay focused, to go to college and everything. Because I didn't go, but I graduated high school, so
Right.
I want more for her. I want to see her to
Absolutely.
go beyond and far than what I did.
Right. Do you ever feel like, because you lost your father, do you ever feel like your daughter might lose you?
No. Mm-mm.
What are some of the things, like, have you ever said like, yo, I wish my father was here because it wouldn't be this way? Like, what kind of statements have you made? Like, my life would be different if my father was here because of what could you?
I'm gonna say I wouldn't have done a lot of things I've done in my life. Probably, like if he was still here, I probably would have went a totally different path, because it was like he was the type of father who made sure that you did what you needed to do, to stay focused and everything. And it's like he made sure that you didn't get into trouble and all that. Like he was one of them fathers that was like stayed on top of you. If you messing up in school, it's consequences behind that.
Look this way.
So it's
Try to
like,
talk to me and look this way too.
so it's like it's consequences behind it. So yeah.
So, all right, so we about to. What would you say to the young woman or the young man
Mm-hmm.
who may be thinking about committing an act right now that may cause somebody else to lose their dad or their loved one? What could you say to stop them from doing that?
Just think about your kids. Like, think about your family, of them having to bury you. A mother should not, or a father should not have to bury their kids, period. because at the end of the day, you supposed to bury your parents, not the other way around. They should not be sitting up here doing funeral arrangements for their kids or any of that. So
they should think about the parents or the person that they want to harm.
Right.
So do you forgive the person who murdered your father?
Yes, I forgive him, because at the end of the day, I can't hold no grudge over somebody that took his life. At the end of the day, yes, you was wrong. Yes, the law have you now, so it's like I can forgive you.
So y'all did find out who did it, and he's locked up.
Yeah, he locked up. Yeah, so it's like we forgave him. Like, it's nothing that you can keep holding on to, like a big grudge over somebody that took your loved one from you. It's crazy. It's gonna keep eating you up inside.
So what could you say to the sons who have their fathers right now today, and their fathers are part of an unhealthy lifestyle like your dad was? What could you say to those sons, that still do have their fathers,
but it's in that lifestyle?
Yeah.
Only thing I could tell them is,
or maybe what could you say to the fathers, but more so to the sons?
More so to the sons, I would say just keep loving your parents and just keep praying for them. Like, they'll change their lifestyle around. They'll open up their eyes one day like, I gotta stop doing what I'm doing because I got kids or a child or whatever the case may be. Because at the end of the day, don't nobody want to hear that phone call that your son, your father, been killed to violence because of his lifestyle. So it's like, at the end of the day, like, I understand, that lifestyle, everybody want fast money or whatever the case may be. But at the end of the day, you can change that. Like, you can go a whole nother route around all of it. So, and
what could you say, what about the people who do have their fathers and they just don't have a relationship with their father for whatever the reason may be? Because those kids, they got an opportunity that you don't have, because you don't have your father, but they have their father, but they don't have a good relationship and they might not talk to their father. What could you say to them?
Whatever it is that you're not speaking to your father about, or whatever case may be, sit down and have a conversation with him. Talk to him. Let him know how you feel. Open up to him, or the case may be. Like, it's so much that you can keep asking a father or telling the father about what you don't or do like about them, or whatever the case may be. If they can't accept that, then you need to just, move on, but just keep reaching out to them. Don't stop. Like, let them know that you really love them and you really care about them and you want them in your life.